What a good-looking sunrise out there at 6:42. So how about this? Each state seems to have their own format for how they give out COVID-19 vaccines and who can get them. But the process is causing a legal headache for some snowbirds. So here to explain the situation with COVID vaccines in Florida is attorney Dave Beatrice for Legally Speaking. Good morning to you, Dave. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Great topic today, by the way.
Well, it's
found some interesting information.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I want to ask you legally, what are the rules? So let's say I live in Ohio. Am I legally allowed to get a vaccine in another state?
So, on one hand, yes, and on one hand, no. So, it's going to come down to a court fight, I think. Or if we get enough needles in the arms, it won't. But according to Section 4, Section 2 of the, Amendment, the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution provides you privileges and immunities of national citizenship. So I can't go, Indiana can't prevent me from going to Indiana and buying products, okay? They can't do that. I, as a citizen of Ohio, have a right to go to any other state and get any products there I want. Now, the court has drawn lines, the Supreme Court has drawn lines on this privileges and immunities clause on things like voting or getting health benefits or Medicaid or welfare or things like that. But if the COVID is considered a product, then the states would be violating your rights under the United States Constitution, under your privileges and immunities clause of national citizenship. It just depends on how the court is going to interpret what that vaccine is. If it's a product like anything else, Indiana can't say to me if I want to go over there and buy a beer, oh, you're from Ohio, you're not allowed to buy any of our beers. So it depends on how they look at what the Moderna or these other vaccines are. If there's something akin to like voting or welfare benefits, you might have a 30-day requirement. But I think, honestly, if this came to the court would say you can't do that. This is a product like every other product, and the Privileges and Immunities Clause of the United States Constitution prohibits states from denying something to out-of-state residents, because one of our fundamental rights as Americans is our right to travel. We have a fundamental right to travel. And so anything that would impair that, the Constitution, the United States Supreme Court is going to take a very harsh look at it. It's going to be called what they call the strict scrutiny test. And that is this interest of the government compelling? And is this regulation narrowly drawn to fulfill the compelling interests of the state? That's what they call the strict scrutiny test. And I don't know how the court would do that. Is this a compelling governmental interest? Yeah, it's a compelling governmental interest that they have enough vaccines. But is it narrowly drawn to fulfill that compelling governmental interest? And I don't know how the court would come down on that. I could see it weighing down on either way. But that's the test. It's going to be a strict scrutiny test. But I don't know if it'll ever get there, because the issue will be moot before the court would ever rule on it. Mootness means that a court won't rule on an issue if by the time it gets there, they no longer decide it. Or they could say, we're going to take this case in light of its mootness because this might come up again, vaccines. So I don't know what the court's going to do. On one hand, I could say it, and on another hand, I can't, and that's why we have lawyers.
Well, how about that? Keeping you employed. Job security, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. And folks, if you are a snowbird or if you know snowbirds, gosh, that's a word I can't say today. Yeah. You can always check out some really great news articles about it and get into that too. But Dave, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you.
Good seeing you. You look fantastic.
All righty. See you, Dave. See you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Let's talk about what's